Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. And we have people who are still coming in, but we want to go ahead and get started with kind of the opening. I am Sharon Hill, the director of the Emmett Historic Intrepid Center, and we are absolutely thrilled to have you here today. This is our first youth summit, hopefully the first of many more. And so today's gathering is really for us similar to a landscape analysis, understanding what some of the issues are and what's out there. And just want to acknowledge we are so fortunate to have Representative Solomon Osborne in the House, and you will hear from him later, or shortly, in a panel session. And we also have Dr. Cora Jackson that's here with us right now. And late in the day, you will be introduced to several other individuals, such as Judge Willie Perkins, who will be coming. But at this time, I want to turn it over to our board chair, Dr. Everette, Penn, who will provide some additional introductions. Dr. Penn.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hey, great. I hope you're clapping for this lady right here who has organized everything and made just a wonderful venue for us to move forward on youth issues. Yesterday, some of us had the opportunity to walk through history and to be able to see the grounds, those holy grounds, if you will, that provide us foundation of why we remember and have etched in our minds the name Emmett Till. It provides a wonderful backdraft, a scenery for us to move forward with thinking about youth issues, youth in Mississippi, the idea of what are our next steps. I am Everette Penn. I am the director of the Texas Juvenile Crime Prevention Center at Prairie View A&M University, and I am tasked with a wonderful job of working every single day in Texas to be the leading person for reducing delinquency in the state of Texas. And I'm honored to have this opportunity to be here in Mississippi because I think we can learn a lot from each other. Mississippi learns from Texas, Texas learns from Mississippi. But again, that frame of mind of knowing we are here because I would say one of the greatest child victimizations of crime occurring to a child occurred with Emmett Till. I mean, if you think about the substance of the case, that a child is kidnapped, and then a child is taken away, tortured, and then killed, that is child victimization. These issues of child victimization still stay today, and what we call as ACE factors, those adolescent child experiences, those adverse child experiences affect what happens to a child, the trauma that occurs to a child. Can you just imagine those friends of Emmett Till who had to endure, am I next? Am I going to be the next person taken out of my bed and moved and eventually killed? Let's keep that in the back of our mind to move forward with thinking about our youth today. So in the few minutes, as I'm going to try to get us caught up to speed here and only take about 10 minutes, but I want to talk about some of the goods that are happening in juvenile justice around the country and some of the things we still need to work on. The best thing I can tell you is this, that since about 2000, the year 2000, we have seen about a 73% decrease in the number of juvenile justice cases that have occurred around the United States. 73% decrease. Those of us who were around in 2000, 1990s time frame, in my writing, I often call it the New Jack City time period. That time period when gangs, guns, and drugs came together so catastrophically in the United States that our murder rates were something like we had never seen before. Now, through effective programming, mentorship, diversion programs, and others, we've reduced that number. So although you hear those sensational cases, 9-year-old kills teacher, 15-year-old goes in and does terrible things, I want those of us who work in juvenile justice, those of us who work in parenting, mentorship, we have done a very good job at reducing the number of youth who are involved. The problem is that we still have several cases that occur that are sensational, that we just almost to this day can't believe that take place. So let's think about what is this thing called juvenile justice, what's working, and what we need to do, and then perhaps, as I look forward to talking with the representative, what can be done here in Mississippi, and then I can take some of those things back to Texas. When we look at what works, we must focus in on diversion. Diversion is extremely important. The general thought, Casey Foundation and others say, is if you can keep a child out of the system, not to be institutionalized, you have a better chance of he or she not going further in the justice system. So that means having diversionary programs set up that if there is a minor offense, that you're able to divert that child to be involved in mentorship and social bond programs and those things that we know that work. So diversion is extremely important to help with preventing juvenile crime. Another one that's a little bit more difficult is parenting. Parenting is difficult because from the first point I made, we're trying to keep the child out of an institution. So if we try to keep the child out of an institution, where's the child going to go? Home. If home is not stable, if home may be the actual incident that's helping to promote juvenile delinquency, then we've got a special problem there. So there's often a thought to have great parental classes, the building up of our parents, the support that they need, the economic support that they need, the time management, the anger management skills to be the very best parent that they possibly can be. My colleague, my new friend there, he talks about that, and I know that you'll certainly express that. The counseling, the opportunity for parents to be at their very, very best. Because isn't it something, and you've heard this before, we have a manual or YouTube video on everything you can think of. But that day that you become a parent, they give you a bill, and you are sent on your way. Do the best you possibly can. What if everyone doesn't have the same tools? What if everyone needs more assistance? Then we've got to be ready for that, to help that to take place. The thing is, we know what works in juvenile delinquency. My time is short, so I can't go into all of it, but we know what works. The issue is, are we ready to apply what works, and are we ready to be actively involved in knowing that it's going to take some rolling up of sleeves to make these things work? I'm going to say just a few things and wrap up. One of them is that what we can do, Emmett Till, our remembrance of him, and those of us who are involved in the ethic and others, is we can use what we know of the storyline of Emmett Till to assist us in allowing others to know their history, allowing others to know how important that history is, and not to fall into the same negatives that continue crime to take place. Not always easy to do that, to get that across to people, but for those of us who were on the tour yesterday, you couldn't help but have this emotional pull at you that it was a horrific thing that occurred. What am I going to do to change the situation for the future? So we can use that as our background. We can continue to provide solutions to our policymakers. Again, blessed to have a state representative here that is able to take this message forward and build the programs that we know what works, the policies that we know work, and be able to implement them. And one third commitment that I make is I'm committed to learning more about what is happening here in Mississippi, what we can do to partner. We have some very good things in Texas that work, and perhaps using those tools and programs here. In Texas, for example, one thing different. Our age of an adult is 17. The morning you wake up, on your 17th birthday, you are considered an adult in the state of Texas. 18 is where most states are. And of course, you can be certified younger. So we're debating that question. We do things differently in Texas. So we're debating that question as to where we're going to go in the future with that. But the numbers in Mississippi have gone down. you still have about 10,000 youth that are involved in your juvenile justice system, or 10,000 cases, I should say, and there's a lot of work to do. So I'm going to kind of stop at that moment and just hopefully leave you with the frame of mind that I am here, others are here, to move forward for those youth that are waking up this morning inside a juvenile facility, or waking up right now with paper on them because they are in the juvenile justice system. And we simply can't leave them over there because the data tells us, the research tells us, that once a juvenile is in the system, there is a high propensity of staying in the system. So we must do all that we can in rehabilitating those youth and helping them to be the very, very best. So I'll just leave you with that, with the representative coming forward and with Honorable Benny Thompson joining us tomorrow. There's a lot of conversations that can take place. So I want to thank you. Had more to say, but we can talk a little bit later here. Thank you so much, everyone.